Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Upper Midwest Bead Society Demo and Do, and my class is pearl knotting. The reason I learned to do it was because my strand of pearls broke. Pearls are a very soft material, and if you just string them together, they will rub and the surface coating will wear off. So they came up with knotting between them. You can use the color like the beads that you're using, or you can contrast it. This one I chose black cord with green beads. Typically they use, it's called Griffin silk, and it comes on a little card like this, and your needle is hooked right on. You want to size your cord to as close to this size of the holes of your bead as possible so that they're not floppy. And if it's too big, then it won't fit through well. So you take your cord off of your card. And then I put a stopper on the end. You can also do a knot, but I found that then I end up with a big knot at the end, and I didn't like that. So I just put a bead stopper on the end of my cord. Okay, and the other thing that you're going to use is called French wire or Gimp. And okay, on this one, I used a 1/2 inch at the end, and it seemed too tight to me. So on this one, I used 5/8, and that seemed a better fit.
You're holding it too close to the camera.
Okay.
There, now we can see it nice. Yep.
Okay, this one is the 5/8, and this one is the 1/2. And the 1/2 one seems too close to me, so I went with 5/8 on the next one.
So how do you decide which size Gimp for the thread?
That I can't tell you. I bought some and I just used it, and it comes on kind of a roll like this, and you just cut off what you need. If you have a thicker cord, you're going to want a larger piece of French wire. If you have a thinner cord, then you'll want a smaller one.
And what size is your silk thread? What number?
I have 4, but I have pearls typically have small holes, and I'm just using glass beads. So I was able to use a larger cord. Okay, to start, string 2 of your pearls. And 1 piece of the French wire. And 1/2 of your clasp. And you move those all the way down to your bead stopper. But don't let the French wire slide into the holes of your beads. If you're using a bigger bead, that can create a problem later. So you stitch back through your the closest bead. And you'll see it just pulls in like that. And it makes it hooks your clasp. Then you create a knot. You make a loop like that, and you put your needle back through.
You're out of the frame. We can't see it. Oh, okay.
Okay, there we go. So you just make a loop and pull your thread through so that you form a knot. Between the two beads. Okay, and then you can take your stopper off. And you stitch through your second bead. And you form a knot with the tail. So it should look like this. At this point, you can put a drop of glue on your knot to secure it. And the reason I recommended either the Loctite super glue gel like this or hypo cement is because they have a really fine tip to be able to control where your glue goes. Now you want to string on your pearls that you're going to use. You don't have to string them all on, you can string later, but this will give your knot a chance to dry, your glue a chance to dry, and you string on pearls. On the card, there is 2 meters of thread, and that will normally do 2 16 or 16.5-inch pearl necklaces, depending on the size of your pearls, of course.
I
Okay.
guess I'm gonna have a question for later, and that would be, myself, I need a longer, necklace because.
Okay,
I'm
then
tall.
you would only get one in a bracelet, maybe. You know, that's just the how much is on there. It'll give you an idea. Okay, so once your glue is dry, you can clip off the tail. Okay. So now you want 1 bead up next to where you've been knotting. And I was taught, make a loop like this around your fingers. I'm trying to get it in focus there. And then put the needle through the loop. Actually, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Make the knot with your fingers and put the beads through the loop like that. Then you take your owl or your head pin or hat pin or whatever you're going to use, and you want to slide that knot down as close to the bead as you can get it. And then I usually take my finger and touch it. And then you repeat. You slide your next bead up, make a loop around your finger, drop the beads through. Slide your knot down to the bead and secure it. And that's really all there is to it. The hardest part is getting your knots close to your beads. You just form a loop with your fingers. Drop your beads through it. Snug it up. And secure your knot. And that's how pearl knotting is done. It's really an easy thing. The only hard part is snugging it up. You just make a loop, drop the beads through. Snug it up. And I left this one a ways away to show you what happens when you don't get your knot in the right place. But that's how pearl knotting is done. It's easy. They do it because they don't want the pearls to rub together. Okay, so when you get to the other end and you want to add your clasp, you want to stop. Pardon me? Did you say something? And if your knot is not in the right place, then you have to, that can be difficult to move it. Okay, so when you get to the other end and you want to end, you want to stop when you have 3 beads like this with no knots between them. Okay, and then you put on your French wire. And your other half of your clasp, like you did at the beginning. And you go back through the closest bead. Okay, now you make a loop here. So that it's laying out. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. And then you put your tail through it to make the knot. Oops, did it the wrong way. So that you have a knot between there. And then the fiddly part is going back through this second one. But you go from the clasp through the second one. And you do the same thing. You make a loop between like this. And pull the tail through. To form a knot between those two. Then you glue this knot like you did at the second one here, and you cut it off. And that's all there is to pearl knotting. It's actually a really easy technique. You simply string your beads on, wrap it around your finger, drop the beads through the loop, and move it up as close as you can get it to your pearl. Do you have any questions?
I do. Have you ever used a knotty board?
I have not. There are a lot of different ways you can do it. They do have tools that will do it. Myself, I like simple techniques. If a knotty board works for you, go for it.
Well, I was thinking it would just keep everything in line.
It might help, yes.
I mean, I already have one, so
Oh, perfect.
you know, but I should be using it for something.
Perfect. Yes, Marie.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I've had some freshwater pearls I bought some time ago at the bead store at the Mall of America, Lotus Beads. And I frequent many bead stores so to get different products. I also went to Storm Cloud Trading to get the thread with the needle because they didn't have any at the other store. So
Right.
here's what I ended up with. This is a silk thread number
Yep.
2.
Okay.
And what I want to tell the others is they recommended that you stretch this because it's silk, it will stretch. So you don't want to use it straight off. And one of the suggestions I got from someone was to attach each end to a coffee cup and hang it over a door.
Oh, that's a
And
good
do that
suggestion.
for at least half a day or overnight, and then you're good to go.
And also something I wanted to show you is French wire is very delicate, so be careful with it. This is what happens if you pull on it. It becomes a squiggly. I don't know if you can see that, but it stretches out and then it's not of any use. So you have to be delicate with your French wire.
The other thing I've been using for necklaces is just a string guard. It's like a U shape.
Yes, you can use those also. The French wire is the old traditional thing, and that's why.
Okay.
But yes, I have used wire guard. Another thing that I will mention is one of the videos that I watched on YouTube that showed this. She suggested that if you're using a toggle clasp, put a couple of beads on the end so that your toggle works better. But I actually didn't have any problem with that. It may have to do with the size of your toggle and the size of the beads that you're using too. That would be a personal choice.
And so the thread that you used was called what again?
It was the same kind you used. It was the Griffin, but I used a number 4 because I had larger holes in my beads.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see.
Look at
Yes,
mine.
well,
I have the old packaging
Okay, that works too. I have some of that.
and I have about 12 packages of it, but none of it really small enough to do the beads I want to do.
Okay,
So I'm thinking I have to get back to 2s, but I want to do larger beads. I'm just worried about if I do my lampwork beads, they're always a little rough, even if you ream them out.
right.
They're always a little bit rough, but I might have to go to a larger cord. But I do have, some lapis and I have some other Venetian beads, some other little beads that would I actually have some amber that my parents brought me back from Russia, but the holes are so tiny. I don't know that I can get a number 2 back through for the ends.
Okay.
And it's so small, I also don't have a bead ringer that small. Do you have any other suggestions for clearing that out?
I think
Or
with
to-
amber, you might be able to use a really tiny drill bit.
Oh, okay.
I would put it in like a dish of water if you're gonna
Uh-huh.
drill, so that it doesn't heat the amber as much, but a very small drill bit could possibly enlarge the holes on the amber because amber is soft.
Right. Yeah, very soft. And it's, and I've got a lot of it. You can hardly see the holes in it, but I thought that would look really cool on a golden yarn, a golden silk,
Absolutely
yellow silk.
perfect.
Okay.
Well, I thank you for joining me.
I've wanted to learn this forever, Becky, and I'm not a stringer. I'm not Marie.
Yeah, I do way more stitching than stringing, but like I said, I wanted to learn it because my strand of pearls broke, and
Mine's broken too, but I wasn't going to try that first.
right. That's why I did glass beads first.
But I don't do any stringing at all, or any other bead work. I just make lamp work beads. So I kind of fit in with the Upper Midwest Bead Society, but I kind of don't.
Oh, you certainly do. There's all kinds of beading techniques that, it doesn't have to just be stringing or stitching. And by making beads, you make beads for us to use.
Well, and I put beads on baskets, and when I put them on the baskets, I use sinew,
Okay.
which also might be conducive to knotting.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that would be very limber and would work well for that.
Can I ask you to review just the very beginning part where you started? Because I
Okay.
couldn't see that.
Okay, you string on 2 beads
2 beads, okay.
and your piece of French wire and half of your clasp. And I can actually do it on this end. This was for demonstration purposes. I'm not really making anything here.
Okay.
So you do 2 beads and your French wire.
Robocall, sorry.
Not a problem. I have another half clasp here. And half of your clasp.
What other cords have you used for like larger beads? I'm thinking about felting some of those large, brightly colored beads.
I haven't used other cords with the knotting technique like this. Actually, though, I have knotted on linen.
Oh, wax linen. Oh,
Wax linen,
okay.
Okay,
I've got a lot of that too.
so you go back through your first bead like this.
Okay.
And it should form a loop with your French wire. Oops, come on.
Or use the wire guard, okay.
Or yeah, or a wire guard around your half a clasp, and then you knot here between the first and second.
Oh, I see. Between the first and second one.
Yep, you string the first 2, and then you put your half your clasp on and go back through that first bead and knot it, and then go through the second one and tie a knot with the tail and the working thread and glue that.
Okay, just like, okay, I get it now.
Perfect.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
I very much appreciate everyone who showed up and for your instruction and showing us how to do that.
I'm glad I could help someone. I always want to pass on beading knowledge.
Marie, we'll have to show her what we beat.
Oh, wonderful. I would love
It might not be today or tomorrow, but
to.
I hope we
I'm
don't
not
have,
always fast either.
I hope we don't have to Zoom it again.
No, you can
I'm
just
just
send me
not
the
that
picture to
technical.
my email.
Yeah, I can do that. I can send an email with a picture.
Wonderful. I would love to see it. Thank you, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.
thank you so much, Becky.
You're welcome.
Becky, are you still there?
Still here.
What did you call the alternative to GIMP? What else is it called?
It's called French wire.
And then what you called it something else?
Oh, I said you can use a wire guard.
Okay,
Like they use on other jewelry. I have one on this.
right. I think GIMP would be nice for the pearls, but maybe for other things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's to protect the silk because the clasp is where the most wear is.
Mhm. Well, even the linen,
Right. But the,
sinew, not so much, but yeah.
the weight, the pull on the clasp is where the most wear is. So you want to protect that area.
Okay.
You could even use seed beads. A string of seed beads. You just want something to protect your thread from rubbing on the clasp.
Okay. Okay. Okey doke.
I have a question for anybody who's around who understands the Zoom stuff better than I do. Should I be opening this on an iPad or not?
You can.
'Cause I don't know. I
I
don't know what the difference is.
I usually do my Zoom on my computer, or else I have a tablet. I with the group that meets on Wednesday. I take my tablet with and Zoom on that. You can Zoom on your phone, but the pictures on phones are so little that it's easier.
Yeah, well, that's why I tried to do this on
Yeah.
my iPad. I didn't know if I needed my email or not because my email is not connected on my laptop.
Yeah.
Um,
You would need the email to click on the link.
right. So that's why I use my iPad because I do have it on here.
Yeah, it worked just fine.
I couldn't get the audio, the voice, to connect on my iPad. And I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, I'm not tech savvy enough to answer that part. But that's part of, all of us are learning this Zoom thing and the new tech stuff now because we can't be together. And so this is a way for us to
Yeah,
meet and still learn from each other.
correct.
So I'm looking at your necklace, Becky. Are those just strung on a cord? There's not knotting on the one you're wearing.
On the one I'm wearing, yeah, it's on beading wire, they call it.
And see, I've had a couple break and then I lose all the
And
beads. So that's why I want a knot.
crimping is not my favorite technique, but that is what I did on this one, yes.
Yeah.
I had to look to make sure. It's from quite a while ago.
I've got some longer ones and it's like, oh, how long is this gonna last? I don't know. Even if you just knot at the ends, even if you just knot a regular, stringing through
Right,
the first 3 or 4 with knots, they usually break at the clasp anyway. Sometimes it's the clasp.
Yeah, but that's part of why you use the French wire or the wire guards is because
Mhm.
that is where the most stress is on a necklace or a bracelet.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we're done. It's not urgent. Take your time. All right, let's just, I gotta stop recording. Yep.